the #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with contentatscale.ai.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Hello and good morning. I am Faye Thomassen. I am Head of Marketing at Mediahawk. I am a chartered marketer and I have 20 years specialising in digital marketing, which makes no sense because I'm still 18, so the maths doesn't work there at all. I joined Mediahawk in 2020, and Mediahawk are a marketing analytics company specialising in call tracking and marketing attribution, and here are just some of the clients that we have. There's a reason that this talk is called Call Tracking and Search Marketing, the combination you didn't think that you needed. I want to take you on the journey that I had. Essentially, I've worked for many different companies in different sectors. I've worked for management consultants as a digital marketing manager. I worked as head of digital for the Institute of Chartered Accountants for over 8 years. And I've done most things digital: search, PPC, social, web experience, web content, you name it, I've pretty much done it. But I decided just before COVID hit, because that's always a good time, isn't it, to change my job. I spoke to a recruitment agency and they talked to me about Mediahawk. It sounded fantastic, fantastic company to work for. And then they talked about call tracking. And I went, call tracking? Now I am okay to admit, and I have admitted it to my boss as well, the CEO, I didn't actually know what call tracking was. It's counting calls, right? So some of you in the room probably know what call tracking is, but I wasn't really sure. I am a digital marketer. I am confident about tracking online. Offline is messy. Digital is the safe place to go. You can't really track offline anyway. And calls, in the industry I was working in, there weren't many phone calls. Anyway, it's not really relevant. But let's just hold there and talk about relevancy just for a quick moment. There was a survey that was recently done by a company called Moneypenny that looked at calls to businesses and how they've changed in the last 5 years. So just have a think, do you think they've gone up or have they gone down in the last 5 years? As you can imagine, they've gone up. So they've gone up, but by how much? Is it less than 5%, less than 10%? It's actually gone up by 34%. I don't know about you, but that actually is quite a lot. As a digital marketer, I have been channeling all these people through the online conversion route on there. But there's people out there that still want to speak to a human. And they want to do it even more than they have done before. And you may say, well, it's COVID, people want to talk to each other more. It's like, yeah, but that research was done after COVID. And we find with our own data as well, people are still picking up that phone call there. So that was quite surprising for me. I joined Mediahawk, as we know, and it really opened my eyes. And what I learned was that call tracking isn't just about call tracking. And I have to admit, actually, the inspiration for this talk and the title of this talk didn't actually come from me. It came from one of our agencies. Lady Jess, she's in the room today. She came up with the title for it because she went through the same journey as me and went, wow, actually, there's quite a lot here that can help me in search and also in digital marketing too. So I want to go through what I've learned over the last 3 years that I believe is going to help you in your SEO performance and it can help in other ways as well. And there's 4 things that I'd like to go through with you. Talk about attribution, driving traffic, revenue, keywords and revenue. So let's talk about attribution first. What if I told you that you could uncover leads that you can attribute to your search campaigns without doing a single thing right now? That does sound a bit too good to be true, doesn't it? But actually it is true, and it has happened, it does happen for our clients, and I can give you an example of that. One of our long-standing agency partners, they came to us many moons ago, and they were tracking all their online conversions really easily, and confidently. And they had a bit of a hunch that they were also bringing in inbound phone leads for their clients as well. Clients weren't quite sure. So they implemented call tracking, and yes, they were bringing in those phone leads. But what they didn't realize was they were bringing in significant number of phone leads, much more than they and their clients were realizing. And they were able to use the insights from call tracking as well to optimize those campaigns, not just for leads, phone leads, but also online conversions too, which I'll go through in more detail later on. The net result of that, though, was that they increased their client retention rate to 98%. Now, I find that really impressive. What they also found is that their clients were increasing their spend with them as well, because they were seeing the results that they were bringing in conversions, both online and through phone calls, and also they were continuing to optimize too. So if you're an agency, are you finding that clients are saying to you, yeah, we're getting phone leads, but it's nothing to do with your search campaigns? Or say that you're in-house, are you finding that your phone calls, are they going to your sales teams and they're actually being classed as sales leads rather than, but you may actually find that actually those leads are because of the search effort you've put in. But how does it work? How does call tracking work? Well, you've got two different types of call tracking. You've got your basic call tracking, which is kind of what I thought it was all about. And that's where you have a unique telephone number, say on a flyer or on Google Business Profile, and someone calls that number, and you can attribute that phone call to that particular source. That's very basic. That's been around for decades. That's what I thought this was all about. But just over 10 years ago now, they introduced something called visitor-level call tracking. It's also known as dynamic call tracking and website call tracking too. And what visitor-level call tracking can do is, say we'll stick with the example of Google Business Profile. Instead of actually just calling from Google Business Profile, instead they go to your website and then they call from your website instead. So what you can do is now actually see the source of that call, not just think it came from the website. Well, actually, where did it originally come from? And this is done through something called dynamic numbers. So this is one of our clients, Stormy. They have lots of care homes on their website, and so they've got a lot of telephone numbers for each of those care homes. So let's dive into one of the care homes. We're diving into Brockington House. Now, what happens is that you'll have multiple people looking at the same time, but they will see different telephone numbers. So you can see here on visitor A, it ends in 007, visitor B ends in 030. And so we now know what source they're coming from, but we'll also know about the visit and the visitor, which I'll come on to shortly. But you can start getting a feeling now of actually how your sources, where your sources are coming from. We have a lot of data, and so we regularly do industry trend reports for our key sectors. One of those key sectors is the automotive retail industry, and our recent report found that when it came to Google Business Profile, they were delivering almost half of all the calls to automotive retailers were coming from Google Business Profile. So that is either they've been on Google Business Profile and called from there, or they've gone to the website and then called. That's pretty significant. Is that the same for your industry? Is that the same for you? And what about Bing? How does that work? Or Google Organic on there? So you can really get a feel of the impact of these sources. So as a digital marketer, I knew how many, because it's all about driving traffic, I knew how many people were converting from my search campaigns online. If I added this visitor-level call tracking, I could, for example, suddenly have a 27% increase in leads attributed to SEO. Maybe I would have got more budget when I was head of digital, ICAW, and well, probably would have got a nice pat on the back. So let's continue talking about driving traffic. So what if I said to you that call tracking can help drive high converting search traffic? Now I know we're getting further and further away from call tracking, and that's exactly what I'm trying to talk to you about today and why we're here today. If I had it my way, we would not be calling call tracking call tracking. It's more than that. It's marketing analytics with this extra dimension called visitor-level call tracking that just gives you something that I didn't even know existed on there. And I think that's why call tracking can be quite unknown for digital marketers or seen as quite niche. It's like, well, you've got to have lots of phone calls to make a difference. I'm about to tell you why that's not true. So Visitor level call tracking, as we now know about the source of the call. So we know the source of the call, but we can also start seeing actually what they're doing on the website as well. They're coming back to the website, and you can then see all the way through to revenue and repeat custom on there too. So let me give you a bit of an example of that. So we've got a particular visitor journey here. So they've arrived on Google Organic, on a landing page. You can see that they've been on the pricing page and a case study page, and then they exited. We can then see when they return and the source of that return. So they came from Google PPC now onto a landing page, and they downloaded a resource. So again, visitor level call tracking, you can actually see the online conversions and call to actions too, and then they exited. Later that day, they came back on Google Organic, they went to the features page, and then they picked up the phone. Now, the agent on the other end of the line can actually see that they're on the feature page. They can also see all the other pages that they visited as well. So they can they really understand the context of that phone call and can provide an excellent experience as well. And then after that phone call, you obviously got juicy data about the call as well. But after that phone call, they look at the pricing page, testimonial, exit, and then later on we can see that sale. So I just wanted to give you an idea that it can give you so much information about that visitor journey, which this for me blows me away. Even after 3 years, I'm still like, oh, it's so exciting, I can see all this information. Well, how does this help with search traffic on that? So I think there's 4 ways. If you know of any more, let me know. But these are the things that I believe it's going to help with. First of all, it's going to help you create some content ideas, because you know the pages those individuals are looking at, you know the phone calls as well, you can analyze the phone calls, and from that you can understand pain points and objections and the queries in order to create blogs, frequently asked questions, that are going to rank really nicely and high up in the SERP, but also you know they're going to convert a lot quicker. When someone lands on those pages, you're already answering questions that they have, and so you're able to convert them a lot quicker. The second one is you've got all that juicy information about the journey as well, so you can work with your web development team in order to optimize your landing pages. You can see where they're converting, how they're converting. You've got the call information as well, so you understand if the keywords are resonating too. So again, that's going to help you in the rankings with your SERP and also improve the conversions of your page. You can also discover new pages too, so we know when it comes to where a form is, what page a form is on there, but with the phone number is normally across the whole site, mostly, not all the time. But what page is people picking up the phone and calling? So you can actually see, should that page be ranking? Do I need to rank? Is that going to be a new landing page for me? Or is there any learnings from that page? Why are people calling us from that particular page? And you could learn from that and optimize other landing pages for it too. But it can also help you know what pages not to focus on as landing pages or keywords, and we're an excellent example of that. So we're quite a small marketing team, and we worked with various search agencies in the past, and time again what happens is we bring in a new search agency and they say to us, hey, we'll do some keyword research. And so they analyze our website and they identify a keyword to focus on: call handling. We have a lovely, lovely blog called Top 10 Tips on How to Improve Call Handling. It's been around for a very long time. The ranking is going down. We still get a lot of traffic from it. And they say, hey, let's do that. Let's bring the ranks up and we'll focus on that. And I go, yeah, that's really going to help me drive traffic, but I can tell with confidence how many conversions I get. Online and phone calls, it's 0. So it can certainly help me with my driving traffic, but from a revenue perspective, it's not going to help me. I'm not that type of marketer at all. And then finally, you can also use it to discover new keywords, which I'd like to talk more in detail now. So we're on to our third point, things that I wish that I knew before. So we know that Google continues to decimate the keyword insight that we need in order to kind of ensure the success of our campaigns. But what if I said we could get some of that insight back? What if I said, instead of having to trust our gut a little bit more, actually develop a robust data-driven keyword strategy. I'm not talking about hacking Google, but call tracking has something really unique, and it's quite obvious as well. What we have is we have the context and the customer voice. So call tracking has something really neat called speech analytics, and speech analytics means that you're able to automatically analyze the conversations that are happening on there quickly and easily. And so from there, you can spot keywords and key phrases in order to identify new keywords that you may not have picked up from other research. It can also help you spot trends as well. Say if you're a travel company, maybe lots of phone calls, people are talking about Cyprus, and therefore you can double down your effort on that particular topic. But it can also help you in terms of unwanted calls as well. So it may be that there's a particular keyword that's driving a lot of phone calls, but they could be spam, they could be suppliers, they could be customers, that actually you want your customers to go routing a different way. So you can adjust your keyword strategy in order to ensure those calls aren't happening, and you can focus your efforts on the calls that you want. But the thing that I find most exciting about call tracking and keywords is that you combine that keyword and call data with your revenue data to see which keywords are driving the most revenue. And so therefore you can focus your efforts on the keywords that are driving the most on there, which leads me nicely into my fourth point about revenue. So ultimately, as most of us as marketers, we're here to drive revenue, to drive profit for our companies. And what I really love about call tracking is it does that online and offline together quite simply, so you can see what's working and what isn't working. So what works, let's invest in that further. What doesn't work, let's save money or reinvest that. So as I said, it can help you understand which keywords are driving the revenue, but it can do more than that as well with this visitor-level call tracking. So it can say you've got one particular keyword, it's driving into one particular landing page, but the journeys are different. If someone goes to journey A, then perhaps they are, it could be a sale of £500, but if they go into journey B, maybe it's £1,500. And so therefore, you can work with your development team in order to ensure that that journey is taken to get that higher revenue. You can also use that visitor-level call tracking as well to see what motivates the sale of specific products and services. You really dive into your sales data and match that up with the journey data and the call data too. And see what role search plays within repeat customers. Do you want it to play a role? Is that going to help you with your revenue? And you can dive into that information in order to adjust your search strategy appropriately. So another one of our agency partners, they generated 5 times as many calls without increasing ad spend. And that's because they focused on those tangible results. They focused on the revenue. Now, I know that's a PPC example, but I feel the context still stands because it's about effort versus return, really, isn't it? So that's it. They're the things that I wish I knew. It kind of blew my mind. It's like, it's not counting calls, is it? And as a digital marketer, that visitor journey stuff is absolutely, I still get excited about it. So just a quick run through of the key takeaways. If you're not attributing your phone leads, please do start doing that, because you're going to immediately see results and see improvements, and that's going to help you with your budget setting, budget requests, and just overall performance. The second one, that juicy little visitor journey information as well, is going to help you with ideas for content. You're going to optimize your landing pages and increase that high converting traffic, search traffic. Using speech analytics, it's such a neat little tool that's going to help you identify new keywords to start ranking for and also adjust your keyword strategy. And finally, pivoting that call data with that sales data so you can focus on revenue driving search traffic. Now, we do have an ebook on this subject. You can, obviously there's a QR code, also mediahawk.co.uk, brightonSEO 23. It's got a lot of information already in there that I've gone through and more. Also, it's got information about PPC as well. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in PPC too, you'll get a lot of value out of there. But that is it from me. Thank you very much. You have been a great audience. I'm Faye Thomassen. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I am going to be available for questions at the end. And also, if anyone else is like, oh, I thought that was just counting calls as well, please come and chat to me, because we have a shared experience. I really didn't actually appreciate how much it was more than just calls. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of Brighton SEO.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.